Welcome back, adventurers, once again to Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. In the last episode, standing at the side of a radio, I suppose, space station apparatus or some sort of such satellite device, a strange girl was staring off into the horizon. A very peculiar girl whose hair and clothes did not move in the sudden breeze of the wind. It's entirely possible that said mystery girl might actually be a robot, or to use a technical term, an android. But the most unsettling thing was what she said at the end of the radio test. She uttered a phrase that I honestly never thought I'd ever hear in robotics notes. Whose eyes are those eyes? A phrase that was deeply rooted in Chaos Head and Chaos Child. I thought I was done with that phrase when my previous Let's Play came to a close, but it seems that I shall never escape it. Meanwhile, Kaito and Akiho have made it to Central High right before the rain started pouring down, and they encountered another class member by the name of Juna Daitoka, who was in the middle of doing a karate session by herself in the gymnasium, and who was very incredibly socially awkward. But meanwhile, the bell for one of the later periods has, sounded off at the end of the previous episode, which brings us to here. It's a little chilly in short sleeves. Well, it is summertime, and that was, one of the many issues with high school uniform etiquette that I'm sure a lot of people had issue with, is the fact that it was mandatory to wear, summer clothes even when it was cold and raining, which, just because it's not winter doesn't mean that it doesn't get cold. But hey, it's finally lunchtime, the most important time of the day, or one of the most important times. I watch my classmates pull their lunches out from their bags. The class rep stands in front of the blackboard, and I'll be collecting money for lunches now. Surely we don't have to pay to bring our own handmade lunches to school. No, I'm pretty sure that's referring to cafeteria food, or maybe the class rep is collecting money from students to get food from elsewhere off campus. Now, what should I do? It's raining, but I'm thinking I'll just grab some bread at Mizuka-san's store and... Hold that thought, sorry. I didn't mean to go into the backlog there. As I was about to say, hold that thought, Kaito, because I am just going to check Twipo for just a brief moment. And Akira responded to one of our latest tweets, or just maybe something we did in general. Thanks. Hee hee. I'm glad I finished homework at the time. I still do have a place to go back to. Nothing could make me happier. Except, of course, Gun Barrel. I got too hyped and watched episode 24 of Gun Barrel this morning. It's raining. If we couldn't already tell. And apparently Kaito has a message of his own for Akiho. Meet her at the bus station. To which she replies, Roger. Played 15 minutes on break. 1-1. Oh man. Kaito, you're letting the team down. You actually incurred a loss there. That's, I mean, yeah, that's a draw, but, although, you know, compared to his score, 2-0 for me is probably nothing to brag about. Today I gotta go pick up the parts from Doc. I have to go on the Thunder Emperor again. The Thunder Emperor. That's a ship. I was kind of thinking, I had a sudden image of the Emperor of Mankind and the Thunder Warriors from Warhammer 40k. But no, it's just a ship. You probably know, but you should take medicine for motion sickness. When you, could tell her to take it easy. Could give her that one. You know what? It'll be nice. Yeah, motion sickness is fairly unpleasant, especially when you're a teenager. I should know. Fortunately, I don't really have much motion sickness, although in my case I'm of course talking about cars and not boats. I don't go out on boats too often. Not really my thing.
普通科3年2組ロボット研究部の瀬宮明穂さんと八潮海斗君は至急職員室に来なさい。
Oh dear. The fact that we're getting an announcement to go to the factory, the faculty room is doesn't fill me with confidence.
繰り返します。普通科3年2組ロボット研究部の瀬宮明穂さんと八潮海斗君は至急職員室に来なさい。
We must go, even though I am not looking forward to this, and I doubt that Kaito is either.
何それ
I'm momentarily dumbfounded by the sudden broadcast. Akiho quickly stands from his seat, as jubilant as Kaito is miserable right now. When our eyes meet, she flashes me a triumphant grin.
時は来た。
What do you mean the time has come? What time?
そのリアクションはどうかと思うよ、アキちゃん。
Our classmates are giving us weird looks.
やすよ、一体何やらかしたんだ?
Yeah. Remember to factor in the fact that this is indeed still high school. And in most cases, whenever an announcement is calling your name, 9 times out of 10 it usually implies that you may or may not have done something wrong.
ついにロボ部に配部宣告なんじゃないか? 配部される前に教頭と勝負してきたらどうよ?
Ignoring their heckling, I shrug my shoulders as I exit the classroom. Akiho follows after me, in her cheerful pose. Her expression is bursting with energy. It wouldn't be far off to say that her entire body is glowing and her eyes are shining with hope. Unfortunately, if this meeting goes the same way as the previous meetings, that hope might dwindle down into nothing.
今の放送の声、教頭の臼井先生だよね。
That was the Vice Principal? Really?
さあね、あんまり必須ってなかったからわかんないな。
これって間違いなく部費の件だよ。教頭先生、ようやく会ってくれる気になったんだ。
I don't think the Vice Principal is going to be quite as ecstatic as you are about this meeting.
たぎってきた。
本当にそんな希望的観測でいいのかな。
The Robotics Club is already on thin ice as it is.
っていうか、なんで俺まで呼び出されるんだろう。
カイだってロボ部だからに決まってるでしょ。さあ、行くよ。
Well, as the old saying goes, but thou must. I followed the high-spirited Akiho to the faculty room, gently running my hand over my stomach. Couldn't have waited until after I had lunch.
失礼します。
Akiho yanks open... Sorry, let me try that again. Akiho yanks the door open vigorously and announces her arrival in a loud voice, barging into the faculty room shortly after. Yeah, might want to tone it down a notch. I politely nod to the faculty around us and follow her inside. As I explained, this whole thing started with Akiho. In April there was a student council meeting. You already know about the budget debacle. Club budgets were determined to be there. So Akiho attended and demanded a tenfold increase to our funding. Though I have to actually ask, how much, given the decline of the Robotics Club's activities and reputation, just how much of a budget did the club actually have? I mean, if the club was getting a budget of about, say, you know, $1, yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I did my best to stop it beforehand, but despite the club being a shadow of its former self, it was well funded. Other clubs complained about it all the time. Akiho just had to go and throw oil onto the fire. She refused to back down, and naturally the council had enough of it. Akiho got in trouble once the VP caught wind, and things got worse when she started making her demands directly to her. She wasn't in the least bit repentant either. In the end, the VP went ballistic. And so, here we are, with all funding to the Robotics Club on indefinite hold. Pretty definitive message of cool your heads for the time being. And that about sums up the current state of affairs. Yeah, pretty much. But once again, if Central High actually does disband its Robotics Club, they will pretty much be on the wayside as Japan moves further into the world of robotics technologies.
教頭先生、ロボ部の瀬宮明穂と八潮海斗です。
As I said just a moment ago, I'm not looking forward to this. I take that back. I'm really not looking forward to this. Apparently this is Vice Principal Usui. Vice Principal looks at Akiho and responds with silence. Her intensity alone makes me want to get the hell out of her. I hate to be rude, I really do, but yeah. Even if she weren't mad, I wouldn't want to be here either. Vice Principal Usui started working at the school 4 years ago. She seems like a very uptight, stubborn mother who would be obsessed with her kids' education. The type that doesn't smile much and is ridiculously strict with her students. Yeah, I can believe it. During assemblies, she loves to bark orders hysterically at the student body using the mics on stage. Yeah. Definitely treading on thin ice here. People here are fairly easygoing, which makes her pretty unusual. Then again, I guess there are some faculty members who don't live on the island. Nevertheless, the Vice Principal looks as menacing as always today. It's extremely clear to me that she's in an awful mood. I don't think this is going to go as well as Akiho seems to believe.
部費の件ですよね。ようやく決断してもらったみたいで、ありがとうございます。
And already, right off the bat, Akiho puts her foot in her mouth.
そうと決まれば善は急げです。今後のスケジュールを考えると、今すぐにでも欲しいんですけど。
Akiho's words and actions, while innocent, are putting me on edge. Yeah, tone it down a little bit, Akiho. Also, something tells me that even if we were able to somehow get the gun-built one in functional condition, they still wouldn't give us that money despite the supposedly generous budget that the Robotics Club is already getting. Who knows when the Vice Principal is going to flip her lid at this point, and pretty much, instead of just simply disbanding us, expel us altogether.
瀬宮さん、どうやら頭はまだ冷めていないようですわね。
Yeah, you're one of those types of teachers, I see.
では、あなたが正当だと考える非常識な部費請求の理由について改めて聞きましょうか。
The fact that she's not getting angry is scary in and of itself. Also, you'd think that, the school would actually, you'd think that with the school bankrolling Robotics Club, they would actually do everything they could to make sure that the Robotics Club was actually, developing, well, robots. She'd normally start squawking at us right now, but this calmness makes me feel like she's in control. Something tells me that isn't going to last, however.
やだな。それはもう何度も話しましたよ。
Unfortunately, Akiho doesn't seem to fully grasp the gravity of the situation here.
改めてと言っているのですよ。
Akiho flashes me a troubled expression for just a moment, straightens her back and starts explaining. This would have been so much smoother if you just actually asked her why she really called us here in the first place.
来年の2月に東京万博が開かれます。
Tokyo Expo, huh? 2020 no less. Its official name is Tokyo Expo 2020 Dream Creation Expo, and it is scheduled to run from February to September 2020. It is the third largest international exposition in Japan after the Osaka Expo and the Aichi Expo. Having successfully attracted people to the expo, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government aims to launch a bulk project that will rebuild the city, including reinforcing all buildings to withstand even the highest magnitude of earthquakes. However, even with this project in place, it would still be impossible to repair the downtown area and the worn-down Shuto Expressway within the next 10 years. As a result, most of the redevelopment project was directed toward the Bay Area. Due to this, the Bay Area near Odaiba and Toyosu specifically was inevitably chosen as the location of the expo. And the large expanse of reclaimed land has been prepared as use for the venue. Although the expo revolves around a general theme, the one that attracts the most attention is the world-renowned robotic technology section. Due to countries from around the world focusing solely on their robotics presentations, the expo has been colloquially referred to as the Robo-Expo as of 2019. The production of giant robots was previously impossible, but with the recent success of mass-produced carbon nanotubes and graphene, a large selection of giant robots are expected to make an appearance at the 2020 Expo. The Robot Expo currently plans to hold a contest that will crown the #1 robot in the world out of the Expo entrants. Additionally, the 2020 Expo is allowing for entries from regular attendees, which is highly unusual for an exposition. Very lengthy tips there.
今回の万博は別名ロボット万博って言われてるくらいで、世界中のロボットが集まってくると予想されてるんです。
I hate to break it to Akiho, but there is pretty much going to be no way we can justifiably finish Gun Build 1 in time for the Tokyo Expo.
ね、ここからが重要なんですけど、万博期間中に全ての出展作品を対象にコンテストが行われます。そして最終的にグランプリが選ばれる、世界で最も優秀で洗練されたロボットが決まるわけです。しかも今回の万博はこれまでと違って一般参加が許されてます。コンテストの対象にもなります。というわけでうちらロボ部はこの東京万博に正義の巨大ロボット頑張れる試作1号機で出場します。でもあれを完成させるには今の部費じゃ全然足りなくて、半年後の完成に間に合わせるには少しでも多くのお金をつぎ込むしかないわけで。
Yep, this is Akiho's reasoning. Although actually, now that she actually said it out loud, her reasoning isn't actually entirely off. This is just me being sympathetic to Akiho for a second. Because if the Robotics Club could actually build a robot that could take the Tokyo Expo by storm, it would be a huge reputation boost for Central High. And as Akiho herself has actually said, building a robot on the cheap is, it doesn't usually happen. The counterparts do unfortunately cost quite a bit of money for construction as well as maintenance. That being said, the person we are dealing with is none other than Vice Principal Usui. was probably of the mentality that Central High should be focused almost entirely on academic learning instead of a society which is already leagues ahead in terms of robotics development technologies. I think it's safe to say that Akiho's ambition is pretty much going to be shot down. She's determined to enter our club, enter the Tokyo Expo. This is one dream she absolutely refuses to budge on. Something tells me that even if, a tenfold increase in a school's budget, given the amount of money the faculty supposedly has, is probably very unreasonable. But something tells me that even if Akiho were to have compromised back when she was attempting to negotiate the first time round, even a slight increase of the budget would have actually probably been blown to smithereens by the faculty. Hell, I want to support her too, if possible. Says the person who couldn't care less about robots. But there are quite a few hurdles in the way.
瀬宮さん、あなた何も反省してませんわね。今説明した内容は以前と何も変わっていないじゃありませんこと。
当然です。
Therein lies the problem. Once Akiho sets her mind to something, she refuses to compromise.
万博に出たいからお金をくださいなんて言い分が通用すると思っているのですか。
I can see where Usui is going with this, but again, in Akiho's defense, even if the expo wasn't happening, I think that Akiho is genuinely insistent on actually building a life-sized gun barrel. She makes a very good point.
ましてやロボ部はここ最近結果を出していない。
Well, again, in the defense of Akiho, I would actually have to ask myself, disrespectful though it is to the faculty here at Central High, what achievements have other clubs and people been here? Because the way things are going, the rest of Japan are going forward into the space age, whereas this little island here, as Kaito said, is basically stuck in time, literally in the age of the dinosaurs and the BC era.
あの図体ばかり大きいロボットだって。
正義の巨大ロボットガンバレル試作1号機、通称はガンツク1です。
何でもよろしいですわ。そのロボットだってもう8年も作り続けているのに完成する見込みはないのでしょう。
Yeah, this is kind of one of those Ouroboros loop things here. It's like, you know... Yeah, I'm beginning to see the problem. Akiho is asking for money to help maintain the robot, but Usui and the faculty are going, show us the completed version first, and then we'll give you the money. To which the response would be, well, that's why they want the money in the first place, and it's just going around and around in a financial feedback loop.
だからそれをあと半年で完成させるために部品を。
2人しか部員がいないのでは、ここで部費を出しても無駄に終わるに決まっています。
そんなことないです。必ず完成させます。
She's determined I'll give her that.
根拠はありますの？
But Usui is refusing the budge as well. As I said before, Usui is one of those academic teachers. The kind of teachers who, once they're actually out of academic life, wonder just why the hell they ever went into it in the first place.
お話になりません。
Yeah, we're pretty much at a stalemate.
そもそもあんな大きなロボットである必要はないでしょう。もっと学生らしい身の丈に合ったものを作るべきですわ。
Yeah. Forget the age of the dinosaurs. This school is literally stuck in well before that time period.
それなら瀬宮さんが要求したような過剰な部品も必要なくなり。
それでもガンツクワンはロボ部の汗と涙の結晶なんです。あの子を万博に持っていくのがうちの夢なんだ。
Yeah, this is going nowhere.
これは絶対に譲れません。
わからない子ですね。
And you're delaying the reason as to why you've called us here. Just get it over with. If you want to disband the Robotics Club, disband the Robotics Club. But don't waste our time as much as Akiho is wasting yours.
認めたくないものだな。自分自身の若さゆえの過ちというものを。
Referencing the red comet isn't helping our argument. Your argument here.
アキちゃん、どさくさに紛れて何言ってんの？
I know Akiho can get emotional. I know plenty well how strong her feelings are for the Robotics Club. But this isn't how we win over the Vice Principal. The two of them glare at one another. If I'm not careful, there's no doubt I'll get dragged into it too. The teachers seem to agree, as the faculty room is silent. Well, you're already dragged into this, Kaito, since your name was called along with Akiho's.
では瀬宮さん、こうしましょう。
Unexpectedly, the one to break the silence is the Vice Principal. Huh.
ロボット研究部としてまず結果を出しなさい。
結果？
ロボ部創設当時、あなたのお姉さんはまず結果を出して同好会を正式な部へと昇格させたのですから。
Yeah, in other words, Central High has just been basking in the glory of Misaki's talents.
あなたもそれに習うべきでしょう。
Oh crap, I've got a bad feeling about this.
長深田先生。
はい。
At the sound of the Vice Principal's sharp voice, Michi, dozing off at his own seat, jumps to his feet. He basically tumbles his way over to the Vice Principal's desk.
京都先生、なんでしょう？
先日先生がおっしゃっていたロボットの大会についてもう一度説明してください。
再来週の日曜日に東京でロボワンが開催されます。
That's the same contest that Subaru got third place in.
もちろん瀬宮さんたちもご存知ですね。
ROBO-ONE is a hobby robot competition. entrants from all over Japan pit their robots against each other in combat. Its history goes back over 15 years, and due to the robot boom, broadcasts of ROBO-ONE get high viewership ratings. The year that the Robotics Club began as a student association, they won the championship in their debut appearance. That victory was what the Vice Principal was referencing earlier. That was the great thing that Misaki did, convincing the school to promote the association into a club. Although these days it's just some past glory that will remain forever out of reach. Past glory that Misaki has turned her back on and never looked back.
それに出ろと？
その通りです。ただし出るだけではなく、優勝してきなさい。
Yeah. I see what you're getting at. But here's the thing. Those robots are miniature hand-me-downs. You wouldn't expect a giant mech to enter such a competition. And to be perfectly honest, as over-the-top as it is, having a competition against two giant mechs rather than two tiny little robots is a far more entertaining and appealing sight.
No.
Yeah, but basically you want us to secure a victory for the high school's academic reputation. In a nutshell, boring.
それが結果を出すということですわ。
Results that are absolutely shallow and completely and absolutely meaningless.
結果を出したなら、瀬宮さんの請求している部費について学校としてもきちんと検討しましょう。ただし、もし優勝できなかった場合は、
Here's the ultimatum. The Vice Principal clears her throat, seemingly creating a dramatic pause on purpose.
即刻ロボ部は廃部とします。
I see. So that's her aim, huh? Which is why she hasn't gotten mad. Pretty underhanded tactics for an adult, I gotta say. You're telling me, Kaito.
あなたたちが作っているあの大きなロボットもスクラップとして処分させてもらいますからね。
Indeed, and the school will go back to being a dust-covered landscape for the dinosaurs.
いや、それはさすがに。
Unfortunately, Kaito, you've jumped in a little bit too soon there. And then again, once again, Akiho beats him to the punch. What? Well...
優勝すればいいんですね。約束しましたよ。絶対に守ってくださいよ。
もちろんですわ。ロボ部こそ条件はきちんと守りなさい。
That's impossible. ROBO-ONE isn't the same as when Misaki entered. Plus, neither me nor Akiho have ever been in a competition like that. In other words, this whole situation was manufactured specifically to crush us.
優勝はさすがに。
話は以上です。
She swats me down like a fly. Of course she does. I look toward Michi for help. However, he's standing at attention and grimacing. Wait, are his eyes closed? Great. Our teacher has completely surrendered to the VP. As if Mizuki wasn't enough. What a useless advisor. Well, at least he's nothing like Suichi Wakui. which I'm eternally grateful.
失礼します。
But now we're in a bind, and Akiho is going to make this worse. Oh no, that was just her farewell greeting. Akiho bows deeply and exits with
失礼
Squid's
しまし
orders.
た。
I leave the savage atmosphere of the faculty room and take a deep breath. This is really bad, I think to myself as I rub my exceedingly empty stomach. It's probably about to get worse. Akiho still has a stern expression on her face, standing with her fists clenched tight. I don't want Akiho to push herself too hard. Neither of us are in the physical condition for that.
アキちゃん、とりあえずさ、お腹空かない？
Yeah, food sounds good.
絶対勝つ。
無理でしょ。いくらなんでも。
How could we possibly just show up and win? I saw a couple of the clips on the New Year's Eve tourney online, and the robots were all incredible. I don't think any of them, however, were on the scale that Akiho was intending. ROBO-ONE isn't just something you can just join and win on a whim. You'd be surprised at what people could come up with. Even the most junky robot could probably win a contest like that through skill and determination. We literally have nothing working in our favor right now.
無理だってアキちゃん。ゴーノーゴー判断はノーゴーだ。
I repeat myself just to confirm that.
ロボ部はもう終わりさ。ここまでよく持った方だよ。
I want Akiho to give up, as does everyone else, including her own sister. But then you would think that this school would pretty much become irrelevant in the face of technological advancements. But oh well. There's nothing wrong with taking it easy.
諦めたら叶う夢も叶わなくなるよ。
だってそもそもホビーロボットなんて俺たち持ってないでしょうが。
おお。
I can tell by the look on her face that she's finally realized that simple fact.
本当に何も考えずに共闘の条件を飲んだわけね。
カイ、どうしたらいいかな。
いや、俺に聞かれてもね。
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we're in some trouble.
やる気なし人間。このままじゃ廃部なのに。
Well, I suppose it was fun while it lasted.
ダメだ。諦めない。大丈夫。なんとかなる。うちは無駄に前向きなのが唯一の取り柄なんだから。
As much as I've grilled the Vice Principal, she does have a point. We need to achieve tangible, a real robot. Aki slaps both of her cheeks in an attempt to pump herself up, while she tries to convince herself it'll all be okay.
疾風怒涛の元気一発頑張れる。ジャキーン。
In the middle of the hallway, she suddenly thrusts her fist into the air. I don't think uttering the opening lines of Gun Barrel's catchphrase is going to win you any points with the other students.
カイも一緒に。疾風怒涛の。
いや。
やってよ。
Yeah, it's a no-dice situation. Not happening. It's way too embarrassing. Sure enough, everyone around us is looking at us and smirking. Some recognize us as the Robotics Club and immediately understand.
俺に一緒にやらせたいなら ギルバラで勝負
しないし。
しなくていいなら俺昼飯買ってくるから。あんじゃ
My stomach is at its limit, so I leave Akiho and head off. Sorry, hurry off.
元気一発頑張れー。
Despite what she says, I don't really see much spirit. I open my umbrella and make my way toward the convenience store.
夢ね
Akiho's dream is to enter Gun Barrel Prototype Model 1 into the expo and win the grand prize. Not entirely unlike somebody else's self-proclaimed ambition. It's fine to have dreams, but right now we're basically just frogs in a well. Hell, even within that well, we're still failures.
そりゃ夢は叶うのが一番だけどさ
But if everyone's dreams came true, I don't feel like the world could keep turning. The same is true if everyone's dreams came to a grinding halt there, Kaito. Only a handful of people can make their dreams come true. The overwhelming majority of people in the world have no choice but to give up on their dreams. I'm no exception to the rule. Akiho was willing to push herself to the limit from the very beginning. She's the type who charges into things head first without even considering her own health. The gung-ho type. The club president's been that way since forever. That's why I want nothing more than to hold her back by her collar and stop her from going any further.
腹減った
Wait, the bell's ringing? Looks like things are just going peachy. Is lunch break already over? I don't have time to go to Mizuka-san's store.
嫌になっちゃうよな
Yep, looks like we're going hungry. As soon as I complain, my stomach growls again and I dejectedly return to the classroom, hungry.
うん
That's just how it goes, unfortunately. After school, I plant myself firmly in the empty classroom and munch on some bread while diving deep into KB. Akiho went off with Michi somewhere and hasn't come back. During our afternoon classes, she seemed to be not really all there. I hope she's okay. As the only other member of the Robotics Club, I should really be there for Akiho, but, well, at least you care about her well-being. In truth, I don't actually want to help. Whoops. Well, I take that back then. This is clearly a trap laid by the VP. We would have no way of coming out on top in this. So my efforts would be wasted. Between matches, I stretch out and cast my gaze out the window. Huge raindrops fall from the sky relentlessly.
俺はどう動くべきかね
Where do we go from here? I'm certain Akiho isn't just going to take this sitting down, so I need to come up with a plan of my own. But either way, my number one priority is to keep Akiho from pushing herself too hard. And that involves with coming up with a hobby robot
と
design.
りあえず土砂降りになる前に帰るか
At the end of the day, it's common for people to keep putting off the problems that are right in front of them. So you say.
うわ、高い。
Okay, so maybe the hobby robots are a little bit more sophisticated than I'd previously thought. I mean, look at this. You've got yeah, 336,000 yen, 399,000 yen, 97,000, 200 yen, and the list goes on. Yeah, that's quite a lot of money, and also these hobby robots are basically miniature versions of what would be a full life-sized giant mech. I can't help but voice my thoughts. Since it's lunch break, I'm chowing down on some food while looking over a hobby robot site. It's a URL that Akiho sent, but I recoil in my seat just looking at some of the numbers on the screen. These prices aren't something a high school student can afford, you're telling me. The cheapest one is around 30,000 yen. When you look at the high end, some robots even go for over 200,000 yen. When you consider the fact that 10,000 yen is roughly $100, $300 is quite a lot of money. Yeah. Whereas, yeah. This is like over $2,000. That's actually quite expensive.
やっぱりそれぐらいするよ。実質完成品みたいなものだし。それでも5年くらい前に比べればかなり安くなったんだよ。
I suppose that's true. I'm sure they must have been really expensive when they first came out. But I mean, the paints and the parts and everything, yeah. Akiho had already finished her own lunch and stands imposingly in front of my desk as she explains.
自分でパーツを一から集めて作ればもっと安上がりになるけどね。
じゃあそうするつもりなの？
あと2週間しかないんじゃそんな余裕ないよ。
Yeah, to pre-assemble a hobby robot in 2 weeks is actually probably a bit more than we could chew. Akiho looks up at the ceiling in grief.
つまりキットを買うと。
それも無理。昨日お母さんにお年玉前借りしようとしたんだけど1万円までって言われちゃった。
The bottleneck is the lack of time before the competition. We don't even have time to work part-time jobs.
それなら決まりだね。ロボワン出場は諦めると。
And basically to give up on the Robotics Club as well.
やろう。
Akiho starts missing my hero again whenever she gets upset like this. Two strands of my hair fall into the rice in my lunchbox. I quietly pluck them out with my fingertips.
飯時はよせ。
なんでカイはすぐ諦める方に持ってこうとするわけ？もっとあがこうよ。
手っ取り早くどうにかする方法でも思いついたなら、そういうポジティブ思考でもいいけどね。
思いついたから言ってるの。
You have, haven't you? Dare I ask? Akiho puffs up her chest in pride. That explains her happy-go-lucky mood this morning.
じゃあ部長さん、その方法とやらを教えてくださいよ。
知りたい？知りたいなら昼バラでうちに勝つことだね。
Challenging Kaito to kill Ballad online is not your brightest idea.
いいよ。アキちゃんをひとひねりにするくらいわけないし。
単なるカイの真似だってば。
I shrug my shoulders and pop a rolled egg into my mouth.
そ
Yeah.
れでは教えます。ズバリ名誉部長を復活させる。
Is that supposed to mean something? I end up accidentally swallowing the barely chewed egg.
どう？ナイスアイデアでしょ？
名誉部長ってまさか部室に飾ってある種菓子マシンさんのこと？
So is that what that machine is? The honorary prez?
もちろん。かつてのロボワンウィナー9年ぶりの復活たぎるよね。
I wonder, was it Subaru or Misaki that designed that robot? Akiho thrusts her fist in the ceiling and our classmates shower her in cold glances. It's true that the robot is somewhat of a legend. It's Mizune's brainchild and the very same robot that won ROBO-ONE. So Mizaki did make it. So basically this robot is essentially what turned the Robotics Club from an association into an actual school club. It now decorates the club room, and we call it the Honorary Prez. But to be frank, it's an antique. Since the robot boom began 5 years ago, tech know-how has evolved. I doubt we could win with a pre-boom machine. Besides,
あれ動くの？
it's a good question.
動かない。でもオーバーホールすれば動くかも。
You think? Yeah, that's a worrying sign in my book. Overhaul. Maintenance work on machinery including the disassembly, cleaning and replacing of parts to restore it to near mint condition. Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of help on this. With only 2 members, it's a very tall order. I stuff some sausage into my mouth, make sure to chew it properly and gulp it down.
まあ納得するまでやればいいと思うよ。
はい、出ました。いつものザ・ひと言。
Yeah, that's pretty much how Kaito views every problem, as belonging to somebody other than himself.
少なくとも 俺に手伝えることなんてなさそうだし。
This is Akiho we're talking about. She'll stubbornly try to fix that antique no matter what it takes. Also, I might have asked this before, but if not, I'm asking it now. Just why in the hell does Kaito Yashio even joined the Robotics Club in the first place? Why is he a member? Who knows? Maybe the answer will be revealed much later. I'll just watch over her progress. After the sausage, I put a pickled plum in my mouth. Its sour flavor spreads out over my tongue, and I can't help but pucker my face in response.
はーい。
Akiho suddenly bends forward toward me. She's too close.
アキちゃんさ、俺とキスでもしたいの？
He said
い
it.
やいや。買い物程度なら手伝ってくれてもいいでしょ。
買い物？
パーツとかの。
Yeah, I figured as much.
まあ、そのくらいなら。
あと、貝のお弁当のうさぎリンゴ1個ちょうだい。
That's driving too hard of a bargain. Man, I wish she'd get a clue about how the people around her feel. Well, coming from you, that doesn't really count for much, Kaito. Looks like we're doing this. This is the faculty room. 4:28 p.m. Also, you'll notice that thanks to the translation, Central High has been translated to its original title of.
種子島新さんのマニュアル？
It's actually originally called Chuo High, but I'm just going to keep referring to it as Central High, just for the sake of both convenience and consistency. So now that we're back here in the faculty room, I think this is a good place to leave things off, and when we return, let's get the show on the road, I guess. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.